You know, we live in this culture that fundamentally treats life like one giant high-stakes escape room.
Oh, totally. Like everything is a puzzle to solve.
Right, and the underlying assumption is always that if we just gather enough data or, run the right analytics, we can just logic our way out of any problem.
Yeah, we're really convinced that the human intellect is this master key to unlocking the deepest mysteries of the universe.
Exactly, and it's exhausting.
It is. It's woven into almost everything we do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're conditioned from an early age to believe our minds can measure, categorize, and, well, ultimately control our reality. The intellect is treated as this ultimate frontier.
And when we hit a wall, the advice is always just to think harder.
Right. Apply more mental force.
Which, like I said, is incredibly exhausting. Trying to outthink every single aspect of existence is just a fast track to burnout.
Oh, absolutely.
And that exhaustion is exactly why we're taking this deep dive today. So for you listening, we're exploring a really profound composition by Guru Nanak Dev Ji.
Yes. Specifically found on page 489 of the Guru Granth Sahib.
Right. And this text, it directly challenges this modern obsession with the intellectual ego. It offers a roadmap that completely bypasses the intellect in favor of humble devotion.
Which is a huge paradigm shift.
Yeah.
It illustrates the exact point where our intellect inevitably hits a wall.
Right.
And then it provides the mechanism for what to do next. It's really an invitation to move from that frantic need to comprehend everything into a state of receptive alignment.
So let's jump right into the opening imagery because it sets up this tension immediately. The composition starts with this vivid scene involving Brahma.
The Hindu deity of creation.
Yeah, right. And according to the text, Brahma is born from the lotus of Vishnu's navel. He's sitting there and he's chanting the Vedas with this melodious voice, but then he gets this urge to find the absolute limits of the Lord.
He wants to maker the infinite.
Exactly. So he actually travels down the stalk of the cosmic lotus, searching for the boundaries.
What's fascinating here is that he embarks on this expedition of measurement.
And he completely fails. The text says he remained in the darkness of coming and going. He just couldn't find the limit.
Right, because he's trying to use the wrong tool.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because I look at this and I see the ultimate cautionary tale about the limits of scholarship.
Oh, for sure. Brahma is the perfect metaphor here because he represents the absolute pinnacle of scholarly knowledge.
Right, he's actively chanting the Vedas.
Exactly. He possesses all the theoretical spiritual knowledge one could possibly hold, but his quest fails specifically because it's rooted in the ego of his own intellect.
The underlying assumption is I'm capable enough to comprehend the boundaries of the Creator.
Yes. He's relying solely on his mind.
It's like he's trying to put a measuring tape on something that has no geometry.
That's a great way to put it.
It makes me think about how we approach data today, Trying to find the limits of the divine with just our intellect is, it's like trying to download the entire universe onto a dusty old floppy disk. The tool is just fundamentally incompatible with the scale of the task. It's not that the floppy disk is bad, it's just the wrong instrument for capturing infinity.
And the problem really arises when we refuse to acknowledge the limitations of that tool.
Right.
Brahma's intellect is vast, sure, but compared to the infinite nature of the Lord, it falls desperately short.
And when we rely solely on that, we end up in what the text calls the darkness of coming and going.
Which, in a spiritual sense, refers to the cycle of reincarnation.
Oh, okay.
But on a psychological level, it really describes the endless cyclical frustration of an ego that refuses to admit it doesn't have all the answers.
We become so obsessed with our own searching that we get lost in the mud of the stock.
Precisely.
This brings up a critical piece of context about this composition that we really can't ignore. This text isn't just a poem to be read, it's actually written in Rag Gujaree.
The musical framework is so essential to the meaning here.
Right, so for those listening, a rag is a specific melodic framework in Indian classical music. It's designed to evoke a particular mood or spiritual state.
And Rag Gujaree is traditionally associated with deep devotion, pleading, and a real sense of surrender.
So Guru Nanak Dev Ji isn't just telling us that the intellect is a floppy disk.
No, not at all.
He's delivering this message through a medium music that inherently bypasses the intellect. It speaks directly to the emotional and spiritual core.
The rag acts as the vehicle for the teaching. I mean, you can't logic your way through a melody.
Right, you just have to experience it.
Exactly. By placing this critique of Brahma's intellectual arrogance within Rag Gujaree, the composition is already demonstrating the solution.
It pulls the listener out of their head and into their heart.
Yes, beautifully said.
And that transition from the head to the heart is actually physically mapped out in the text with the section mark rahai.
Which means pause.
Right, pause. It
Yeah.
centers the whole composition. The text says, "Why should I forget my beloved? He is the support of my very breath of life." It's incredibly intimate.
It is, the breath in your lungs. But then immediately after establishing that intimacy, the text dramatically zooms out.
Right, to the cosmic scale.
Yeah. It says, the sun and the moon are merely the Lord's lamps, and that one light fills the three worlds. The destroyer of ego fills everything.
That pause section really acts as the anchor. It stops that frantic searching down the lotus stalk.
It's like a reset button.
It reminds the reader that the divine isn't some destination out there to be discovered at the end of a long intellectual journey.
Right.
It's as close as the very breath sustaining your life. But to perceive that intimacy, your perspective has to shift entirely.
I want to dig into that shift, especially the mention of the three worlds. What is the text specifically referring to there?
So, in this cosmological framework, the three worlds generally refer to the entirety of existence.
Okay.
That's the physical realm we inhabit, the subtle or astral realms, and the formless, purely spiritual realms.
Wow, so everything. By stating that one light fills all three, the text shatters the illusion of separation.
Because Brahma was looking for a boundary.
Exactly. He was looking for a place where the divine ended and something else began.
And the realization here is that there are no boundaries. The light permeates every layer of reality.
Exactly.
Okay, well, here's where it gets really interesting because I have to push back on this next part. It creates a real friction with how we live today.
How so?
Well, to align with this one light, the text sets up a stark contrast between two states of being, the Gurmukh and the Manmukh.
Yes, the Gurmukh being the guru-centered person and the Manmukh being the self-willed person.
Right, and the text says the Gurmukh remains immaculately pure day and night, while the self-willed Manmukh is enveloped by the darkness of night.
The distinction between those two is really the core of the philosophy here.
But look at modern society. Today, being self-willed is usually praised as a great trait.
Oh, it's celebrated.
Yeah. In the corporate world or in self-help culture, we praise the independent thinker, the relentless self-starter, the person who imposes their will on the world to manifest their goals.
Right. Yeah.
If you put highly self-willed on your resume, you're getting a job.
You probably are.
So if I drop my self-will and become a Gurmukh, don't I just become passive? Like, how do I pay my mortgage or achieve anything if being self-willed is suddenly this terrible, dark thing?
That is the most common modern hurdle when approaching this text.
Okay.
We completely conflate being self-willed with being effective.
Right.
But in this spiritual context, Manmukh literally translates to one whose face is turned toward their own mind or their own ego.
Oh, I see.
While Gurmukh is one whose face is turned toward the guru or divine wisdom. So the darkness of the Manmukh isn't about a lack of ambition.
What is it about then?
It's about the ultimate isolation of the ego. The Manmukh operates under the illusion that they are the absolute center of the universe.
So it's a delusion of independence.
Precisely. They think they're generating their own power, completely disconnected from that one light.
Wow.
It's like navigating a pitch-black, cavernous room with a tiny pen light you brought yourself, and refusing to open the curtains because you were just so proud of your little pen light.
Well, the Gurmukh just opens the curtains.
Exactly. The Gurmukh recognizes that the sun and the moon are the Lord's lamps. They don't need to generate artificial light.
That makes a lot of sense.
And this doesn't mean the Gurmukh sits around doing nothing. They still work, they still pay their mortgage, but the source of their action is different.
Their actions are aligned with the divine will, not just their own selfish, isolated desires.
Yes, they act as instruments of the one light, rather than isolated operators fighting against the universe.
That completely reframes the whole concept. It's not about passivity at all. It's about the quality of the energy you bring to your actions.
Absolutely.
Like, are you forcing things through ego, or are you moving in a state of flow?
That's exactly it.
Which really brings us to the third stanza, because it directly addresses the people who try to force spiritual outcomes.
Right. If intellectualizing like Brahma doesn't work,
Yeah.
what about intense, hardcore discipline?
Exactly. The text introduces the siddhas, the accomplished yogis who spend their lives in samadhi, or deep meditation.
The Siddhas represent the path of extreme asceticism and rigorous bodily control.
Right.
They're attempting to achieve enlightenment through sheer willpower and physical mastery.
Yet the text completely dismantles their approach, too. It says the Siddhas in Samadhi are continually in conflict.
Yes.
And then it asks this devastating question. It says, what can they see with their two eyes?
It's a profound critique.
So what does this all mean? They dedicate their whole lives to this. So why does the text say they are in conflict?
Well, the conflict arises from the duality of their method. They are treating the mind as an enemy to be conquered.
Like a wild beast to be caged by their discipline.
Exactly. But the very act of trying to force the mind into stillness requires immense ego. It is still the I trying to control the self.
You know, it reminds me of the phenomenon of insomnia.
Oh.
Trying to achieve spiritual enlightenment through sheer force of will is exactly like trying to forcefully command yourself to fall asleep.
Oh, that's a brilliant analogy.
Right. Like when you lie in bed staring at the ceiling thinking, I must sleep right now. I am going to conquer my wakefulness.
Yes. And what happens?
The intense effort just creates more tension. Your heart rate elevates, your mind races.
Right.
The harder you try to force the outcome, the further away it gets. You are continually in conflict with your own nervous system.
The Siddhas are essentially experiencing spiritual insomnia.
Oh, I love that phrase, spiritual insomnia.
They're using their two eyes, their physical anatomical perspective, which includes their ego-driven willpower, to try and extract a vision of the divine.
They're looking outward, trying to objectify the infinite.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the divine inner light cannot be perceived by anatomical eyes, nor can it be captured by force.
So if the intellect of Brahma is the wrong tool and the forceful willpower of the Siddhas just creates more conflict,
Right.
what is the actual mechanism for resolving this? How do we escape the escape room?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the text provides the mechanism in the very next line.
Okay.
It says, one who has the divine light within his heart and is awakened to the melody of the word of the Shabad. The true guru settles his conflicts.
The true guru settles his conflicts.
Notice the phrasing there. The individual does not conquer the conflict through battle.
The true guru settles it.
Yes.
The word awakened really stands out to me there, too. It's not achieved or earned. It's an awakening to a melody.
The mechanism here is the Shabad, the divine word.
Right.
In Sikh philosophy, the Shabad is the underlying cosmic vibration, the truth that permeates all things.
Okay.
Think about the difference between sight and sound. Sight, which the Siddhas rely on with their two eyes, requires distance.
Right. There's the observer and there's the object being observed.
Exactly. It inherently creates separation. Sound, however, is a vibration that permeates.
You don't look at a melody.
No, you let it wash over you. You vibrate with it.
Wow, that connects perfectly back to the fact that this composition is written in Rag Gujaree.
Yes.
The text isn't just talking about a melody, it's actually meant to be sung as one.
When the individual turns toward this wisdom, when they shift from manmukh to gumukh, they begin to hear that internal melody.
It's an act of deep, receptive listening, not forceful striving.
Exactly. The ego steps aside, the internal wrestling match of the Siddhas ends, and the true guru settles in the mind.
The inner light simply ignites.
Yes.
Just like sleep finally comes the exact moment you stop trying to force it.
Yes.
You surrender to the tiredness, you let go of the control, and you just slip into it.
It is a profound shift from active, ego-driven doing to receptive, spiritually aligned being.
You stop trying to climb down the lotus stalk.
And you simply recognize the light that is already filling the three worlds.
That is so beautiful, and that sets up the final stanza of the composition, which really feels like the natural culmination of this entire journey.
It does.
We've moved from seeking to forcing and finally to surrendering.
Right.
The text describes the Lord of angels and men as infinite and unborn, dwelling in a true mansion that is incomparable.
The acknowledgement of the incomparable nature of the divine is the ultimate humbling of the intellect.
We have completely abandoned the idea of measuring the divine.
Yes. It is the realization that the true mansion cannot be mapped or conquered.
The final plea from Nanak is what sticks with me the most. He doesn't ask for ultimate knowledge or to be seated beside the Creator.
Yeah.
He asks to merge imperceptibly into the life of the world through the Lord's mercy and grace.
That concept of merging imperceptibly is deeply rooted in the words sahaj.
Sahaj, what does it mean?
It translates roughly to a state of complete naturalness, poise, and effortless balance.
Wow.
It is the absolute antithesis of the conflict we saw with the Siddhas.
It makes me think of a drop of water falling into the ocean.
Yes, exactly.
The drop doesn't struggle to become the ocean. It doesn't flex its intellect or, impose its self-will.
Right.
The moment it touches the surface, it merges imperceptibly. It simply becomes part of the whole.
And the text ensures we understand that this merging happens through mercy and grace.
It's not a prize you win for being the smartest scholar or the most disciplined ascetic.
Not at all. Grace is what steps in when the ego is finally quiet enough to receive it.
When the internal conflicts have been settled.
Yes. When you are vibrating with the melody of the Shabad, that merging into the ocean happens naturally.
So as you are listening to this deep dive right now, I want you to consider your own daily routines. Where are you acting like Brahma in that lotus stalk?
We all do it.
We really do. Where are you endlessly overthinking a situation, trying to measure something that is fundamentally immeasurable?
And exhausting yourself in the mental darkness of coming and going.
Exactly. We all have areas where we grip too tightly, where we rely entirely on our inner mukh.
We try to force outcomes, and then we wonder why our minds feel like a battleground of conflict.
We forget the pause. We forget that the peace we are frantically searching for is the support of our very breath.
We just need to stop wrestling with the mind and listen to the inner melody.
Which brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with today. Modern culture is completely obsessed with the journey of finding oneself.
Oh, totally.
Right. We are told to define our personal brand, assert our individuality, and carve out our separate space in the world.
Constantly.
But if true spiritual peace, as described in this text, comes from the true guru, settling our conflicts and allowing us to merge imperceptibly into the divine,
Right.
what if the ultimate goal of life isn't to find yourself at all? What if the goal is to gracefully lose yourself in that one light and realize you never really needed to logic your way out of the escape room in the first place?